Hello, I am Titas RoyChowdhury. I am faculty of Globsyn Finishing School. Today I am going to discuss about the learning part of artificial neural network. We know from basic learning that what is the meaning of learning. For example, in case of linear regression or in case of classification problem, let's take the example of this one. We try to calculate values of these weights. That's actually learning part. We process lots of training data, and based on training data we try to calculate values of these parameters. That's actually essence of learning. That's actually essence of supervised learning. But then what is the learning thing in case of artificial neural network? Artificial neural network looks like this. There are layers of neurons, and one layer contains n number of neurons. In this particular picture, each layer contains 3 neurons, and we know that one neuron feeds its output to other neurons in the next layer. You can see that this neuron is feeding its output to this neuron. This neuron is actually feeding its output to that neuron, and this neuron may take input from other layer. It happens like this. That is, this neuron is taking input from this neuron, and this neuron. Similarly, this neuron may take input from this neuron as well as from this neuron. So that was the very basic fundamental architecture of artificial neural network. But then, what's the thing? What we learn? What we try to calculate here? Like this, we calculated the values of W1, W2, W3. But what we calculate here? That's the main part of this video. In case of artificial neural network, we have got actually 3 things to learn. First of all, the sum that happens inside inside neuron, we can adjust that. We can also adjust the threshold function. We may have we have many type of threshold functions: sigmoid threshold function, hyperbolic tan threshold function, stepwise functions, or we can also control the interaction between one neuron to other neuron. We can control that how strongly I want to receive input from one neuron to another neuron, or how I want to ignore the output of one neuron. So how do we control that? What? The output from one neuron coming to the next neuron as an input. How do you signify that particular input is important or it is not important? With the help of weights. So we have got 3 things to learn here. First, we can learn these weights, which actually controls the significance of input of one neuron to other neuron, or we can adjust the summation that is happening inside the neuron, or we can also adjust the activation function or state or threshold function that is actually generating output, that actually decides whether output will be generated or not. Given these 3 situations, we find that learning the weights, that is the interaction terms between 2 neurons, they are very easy to calculate. So if we have got an easy option, we go for that easy option. We don't go for adjusting the summation operations that happens inside a neuron, or we don't also go for adjusting that threshold function. These are really complicated mathematical properties. On the contrary, trying to learn weights is much more easier mathematical operation. So we generally go for learning weights. So entire process of learning with the help of something known as back propagation, we try to figure out what will be the correct value of W1, W2, W3. So you can see that here we have written W11, that means input from layer 1, input from a neuron 1 from a layer, that is going to the first neuron of the second layer. So with the help of another property known as back propagation, which is actually the fundamental part of the neural network, we try to adjust the values of these weights. So to summarize, what is the learning in artificial neural network? There are 3 things to learn. learn inside a neuron, learn how to adjust sum, learn how to control the threshold function. But these two aspects are very tough to control. These invite lots of mathematical calculations. There is another aspect of learning, that is control the interaction between two neurons. That interactions are represented through something known as weight. We try to learn that. We try to calculate that. The weight controls how significant a neuron's input to the next neuron. Hopefully you have learned what is learning in artificial neural network. To know more about this, please join us at Globsyn Finishing School.